Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Northern Kentucky Spotlight podcast presented by CVG. I'm your host, Sarah Brookbank. Today on the podcast, we are joined by Jim Beiting of Transitions. He talks about National Recovery Month and their work in the community helping those with substance use disorder. We are also joined by Laurence Jones of RiskVersity on our Talent Strategy Spotlight. He highlights their risk management services with Deshae Thompson. Thank you to our podcast sponsors, CVG, our title sponsor, C-Crew Consulting, our digital sponsor, and our episode sponsor, Schneller Knockelman. We have an exciting event coming up in October for our young professionals. Join NKYP on Thursday, October 10th to learn all there is to know about NKYP at the kickoff meeting at Beeline at Newport on the Levee. Come network, have a cocktail, and get insight into all that NKYP has to offer. You can register at nkychamber.com/events. Now, let's go hear from our sponsors, meet our members of the week, and Deshae and I will be back with this week's guests.
Why would you travel to England?
For football.
To go or not to go? That is an easy question. To visit the land of Shakespeare.
To take in all the sights.
Authentic fish and chips.
To experience arts and culture.
2 words, British Open.
To visit my family.
Same reason I go anywhere. For a pint of beer. To start my trip through Europe.
Whatever your reason, there's no better time than now.
Congratulations to our members of the week. You can learn more about these businesses by following the Northern Kentucky Chamber on social media, where we will highlight one of these businesses each day. Now, let's meet our members of the week. Ape Made It Boutique is a women's clothing boutique committed to offering inclusive sizing from 0 to 24 or small to 3X with fair pricing for everyone. Blue North is Kentucky's innovation hub for Northern Kentucky, representing Kentucky's approach to building vibrant regional innovation clusters across the state. BWF America is an industrial filter bag maker and bag house servicer. The FFR Wealth Team helps you define your why and create a financial plan that lets you live out your unique vision of freedom. Horizon Community Funds is Northern Kentucky's own community foundation, a public charity that strives to raise the quality of life for all people in the community. Hi, everyone. Today on the podcast, I am joined by Jim Beiting, who is the CEO of Transitions. Jim, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you. So September is National Recovery Month. Yep. Transitions, obviously, this is a huge part of what you do. So tell us a little bit about what you guys have been doing this month.
Yeah, so we really celebrate National Recovery Month. Drug and alcohol addiction responds very nicely to treatment. And over half the people that have a substance use disorder are living a life of recovery. So it's really a beautiful thing. You have to take it a day at a time. It takes a lot of work and can be frustrating at times because of relapses and things. But the more we do to celebrate recovery and to almost normalize the disease of addiction, it reduces the stigma. And stigma is a big factor in why people continue to not reach out for help. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit frustrating. So we do as much as we can to get the word out.
Yeah, and earlier this month, you guys had a big event over on the Purple People Bridge. Tell us a little bit about that. It looked like a really great time.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, we had an idea of kind of bringing Kentucky and Ohio together a little bit, as well as Indiana. So we thought, what a great spot with the Purple People Bridge. You know, it's a great spot to be on. So we do it the first Thursday in September, typically. And we have elected officials, but also members of the community from both sides of the river, kind of talk in the middle of the bridge, you know, to really have some unification there. And it's a great event, about 400 people this year. So it's some great entertainment. And we've got videos from last year's. We'll have this year's on our website soon. So it's a great event.
Yeah, it's really important, like you said, to kind of talk about the importance of recovery and, you know, people can get through this as long as they have the services and the support that they need. So tell us a little bit about what the services that you guys provide are.
Yeah, Transitions has been around for 55 years.
Yeah.
So for a nonprofit to, you know, survive that long, that tells you something. And you have to kind of ebb and flow a little bit and be pliable with what you do and how you do it and funding and all that stuff. But we've always really stayed true to our roots of providing drug and alcohol treatment. And we still do that today. We do it a little differently than we have in the past. You know, just advances in the research and things have really spurred on some, you know, I think more effective treatment and interventions. So we have about 80 employees. We run a couple large treatment centers out in Erlanger on 17, um, and we've built those facilities from a capacity standpoint that we can handle people to come in right away. So we've coined the phrase treatment on demand or immediate access to care. So if somebody calls, at noon or at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and says, "Hey, I'm finally ready," and we do a lot of residential treatment, they can come right into residential treatment. So there's no wait for services. Like I said, treatment on demand and immediate access is really the key. We have to be ready when folks are ready.
Yeah, you can't wait that 2 to 3 to 4 days where people just were like, "Oh, well, never mind, I've changed my mind."
Yeah, prior to the opening our new facility, gosh, it's been almost 6 years. We did have to say, well, can you come in next Tuesday? And it's too late by then, and it could be fatal.
Yeah.
The disease of addiction, unfortunately, is a fatal disease, kills people. Over 2,000 people in the state of Kentucky last year, over 4,000 people in the state of Ohio, over 100,000 in the country. A lot of those overdoses are fentanyl, but alcohol kills more people than the drugs. So it's one of those diseases that doesn't discriminate.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, and I know we had talked about this before we started filming. So many people, I know, especially in the greater Cincinnati area, have been so touched by addiction, whether it's drugs or alcohol. It's great to know that we have someone like Transitions here with next day care, same day care.
Same day.
Like you said, that is so valuable.
Yeah. Well, the numbers are interesting too, because if we look at just Boone, Campbell, and Kenton County, that's about 400,000, a little over 400,000 people. And the national average is about 5% of the population has a substance use disorder. So that's about 20,000 people just in Boone, Campbell, and Kenton. And if you take Hamilton County of almost 1 million, there's a lot of people. The good news is, again, it's a national average. About half are in recovery. That still leaves about 10,000 people just in Boone, Campbell, and Kenton that are still struggling in active addiction. And those are the folks that we need to get the word out that there's help available.
Talk a little bit about those challenges that you are facing and that your clients are facing.
Yeah, and a lot of it is still the stigma. There's still a lot of misinformation. And there's still a lot of myths. This is a moral illness or moral disease. You're just a bad person or things like that, or you just need to grow up. And it's been scientifically proven, a lot of research by really smart people, that this is a brain disease. It has a very strong genetic component to it. So genetic predisposition is very, very much at the heart of it all. So it's really a family disease as well. So that's a lot of good information to have, because when people think that, oh, I'm just a bad person, they're probably not going to ask for help because they feel bad about themselves. There's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. And so a lot of what we do is education too, and educate the community as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really vital part. One of the things I did want to ask you, because obviously as the Chamber of Commerce, we have a lot of business owners, a lot of employers. What can you say to those people? How do you educate business owners? How do you educate employers about this issue?
Well, Transitions with 80 employees, about 60% of our staff are in recovery, and that goes from every department that we have. So we're proud of that. We don't, that's not a requirement for any job duty, but people in recovery kind of gravitate sometimes to treatment centers. But I think we're really missing a big part of the workforce if there's too many exclusionary policies, maybe. A lot of folks that are in recovery from drug and alcohol addiction or any addiction, they might have a legal record. And, people shouldn't look past that, but it shouldn't be one that prohibits somebody from getting a job, I think. So there's lots of little things like that from a HR policy. There's some businesses that can't do that, but there's a lot of things we can do to be a little more inclusive with the folks in recovery. And people in recovery make wonderful employees. They're always on time and they do a great job, very grateful. And it's just a great group of folks to be around.
Yeah. I think it's lovely that you guys employ so many. Well, you guys are so close to that work, obviously, providing those, you mentioned second, third, and fourth chances sometimes to people who need employment. And they're, like you said, usually very employable people. They're just struggling with substance use disorder.
And a lot of folks that, maybe are struggling, and if they relapse, we don't want to fire somebody. And, there's always employee assistance programs. We actually have an EAP program ourselves, and we use St. Elizabeth. So they're a great partner with us in the community, and there's so much you can do to help folks, and just treat it like any other disease.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that you guys are doing really well to transform, and so many of our other community partners here in Northern Kentucky doing that same work. And then, like I said, September is National Recovery Month. Is there anything else that you think is important to share with our viewers and listeners about National Recovery Month and recovery in general?
Yeah, I mean, recovery is possible, and it's right there for people's taking. It takes a little bit of work. And a lot of people want a lot of things, they want to be in recovery, but it takes a lot of work. So, and treatment is there to help with that. That's what treatment is. It's really to jumpstart someone's recovery. We do a lot of residential treatment, but we do a lot of outpatient treatment as well. And we also have a lot of housing for people that are new in recovery. So, and treatment is it's literally a phone call away. The best way to get a hold of us or to get more information is to go to our website, which is just transitionsky.org. There's a lot of content on there. There's actually an online admission form, so you can fill that online. We have immediate access to care, like I said, so it's really as simple as a phone call, going to our website, and really a lot of people just walk in.
Yeah, it's very nice that you guys have those services that make it really easy to access. And Jim, it has been great to talk with you today about this. Before I let you go, is there anything else that you think our viewers and listeners need to know?
Well, we appreciate taking the time, and it's great to get out to the business community and everybody in Northern Kentucky. And there's lots of providers, there's lots of people that we, partner with, other social service agencies, but also the business community. So we appreciate the Chamber. We're members of the Chamber and have been for a long time, and we appreciate the support from the Chamber and the business community. And I think the business community, and I think they already have, I think there's been, with COVID and things, there's been a little bit of a little pressure on the workforce, and I think people are trying to be a little more creative and attracting some folks. And we work closely with people. Meaningful employment and early recovery is really important for folks, and it really helps with recovery. So we're always looking for employers, businesses that we can partner with, knowing that they're taking not so much a chance on folks, but maybe they're relaxing some policies that they've had, but know that they're getting good employees.
Yeah, I think that's so important. Yeah, and well, Jim, thank you so much for your time today. Absolutely. I really appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely, thank you.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. C-Crew gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, C-Crew generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can C-Crew do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. My name is Deshae Thompson, talent strategist and inclusion specialist here at Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce. In honor of Black Business Week, today we will be spotlighting RiskVersity. Today, I have the honor and the privilege to be spotlighting Mr. Laurence Jones III, president and co-founder of RiskVersity.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Great. So I am so excited to hear about your story and how you got this business started.
Well, I like to share the story. It was somewhat unconventional. A couple of partners, friends mainly, got together to start another business called Legacy Investment Funds. And through that process, we felt like we need to have kind of model a bank to some degree, to have not only the lending side, but also the asset investment side, but then insurance was another component of that. And so as we made our way through the investment side and doing some transactional lending, the insurance part was next on the list. And so we launched RiskVersity in 2015 as an insurance agency. We did that for about 3 years and really realized that being an MBE, certified MBE, and really trying to compete in the market space with long relationships, it was hard to really crack into the business that way. So in 2018, we divested of the insurance agency component and just focused on the consulting aspect around insurance and risk management.
That is fantastic. And can you elaborate on the MBE?
Yeah, so minority business enterprise.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
So how will adding insurance and risk management enhance investing and lending services?
So, I mean, when you think about, financial services, holistically, those components all kind of tend to go together, right? And so by, adding in that insurance component, which is protecting your assets, right? It's one component of that. We felt like that was the piece that needed to be done. And in that space, there were not a lot of minority-owned organizations doing that.
Yes.
And so we felt with, supplier diversity continue to be a thing for the Fortune 1000, other companies, government, healthcare, that we could be positioned appropriately at the right time to bring those services to light. And well, while that was true to some degree, that's not a space that supplier diversity has a huge spend in. So it's swimming upstream a lot of times, but we feel like we have the tenacity to fight the current, if you will.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you're touching on the supplier diversity because that's a very hot topic right now.
It is
very hot topic.
Very much so.
So, what should we consider ensuring our new offerings aligning with your new clients?
So I think, in the space that we cover from a risk perspective, most folks have the insurance component attached to them, and we used to have that.
Yeah.
We felt like if you're doing the consulting piece where, business owners typically don't really understand what all that insurance stuff really means.
Right.
They look at, I think I need this coverage. My broker told me I need this coverage. And here's how much it costs. And it's, ooh, that's too much. Or, okay, I can afford it, right? But not really understanding what that insurance policy is really going to do for them.
Right.
When something bad happens, in their business operation. So being able to provide a consulting approach to that, where we're not looking to sell you an insurance policy, more to educate you and to really bring that knowledge base so that the buyer is an educated buyer and not a buyer solely based on cost.
That is a lot of feedback that I have been hearing for a lot of minority-owned businesses, where they want to be educated and be walked through, so it makes them feel more encouraged to do this every step of the way.
Absolutely.
So that's great that you're there for them every step of the way and educating them.
Absolutely, 100%.
Educating is the best. How can you best communicate the benefits of your full financial service package to your clients?
It's funny you asked that question. Well, it's not really funny, but here it is. So I was at a golf outing just yesterday with a gentleman from New York, and he was asking the same question. Help me understand what it is that you do. I have a broker already that's telling me X, Y, and Z. My response was, most of the large companies in Fortune 1000, they have a risk manager on staff who is then, helping to understand the risk of the organization, what insurance coverages they need, and to communicate that effectively to the broker to then bring back the right insurance program to match those needs. He goes, okay. I said, so that's kind of the starting point, right? We're creating the opportunity that somebody on your side of the table can have that conversation with all the right, lingos and acronyms and understanding of the industry to tell your story from your vantage point and not, being paid to place the insurance, of your business. And so it was, okay, I like that. I'm catching on here. Give me more. So why would I pay you when I'm already paying for insurance? So, well, when you really understand your insurance program and how it operates and things that you can do to impact how much you're paying for it, to have those insights when working with a group like RiskVersity, we can often, save you dollars in your insurance program. That's one avenue. The other avenue is there's often times where things you think are covered by insurance are not. So then to bring you up to speed or to give you the education on something that may not be covered, that could be a catastrophic issue for your business. I'm not saving you money on that. It may cost you more money, but at least you understand that now this is a risk to my business. I now have insurance for that, right? So we felt that in COVID, right? People thought that when COVID happened, I can file an insurance claim. I'm going to get all this money to offset my loss. And that wasn't the case. A lot of insurance policies did not cover COVID-related issues, right? And if they did, it was a few $1,000s. But if you have $1 million issue and your policy is $1 million and all of a sudden they give you is $50,000. Well, that doesn't really, doesn't do much in your program.
That's an understandable example, because I was wondering that about 2020 of how businesses had to deal with those challenges and what that looked like. So I'm glad you explained that, and also the understanding of that business competitive, what sets you different from the rest.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought that up, because when you're a business going to work with larger scale organizations, they're asking you what insurances do you have in place. And so if you show up to the table with not having the things they expect you to have, that's kind of like a little bit of a ding in your credibility in doing business with those organizations. So understanding what you need and having that there, it's one thing to have to be asked to get more coverage for something you already have, versus saying, well, you've been in business for 5 years and you don't have professional liability or errors and omissions. We expect that. You don't have cyber liability. We expect that, right? So bringing those things to light, that you're prepared to do business with those folks that you want to do business with.
And cyber liability is all incorporated into your packages.
It is, yes, absolutely, absolutely. We consult on all lines of business insurance, right? Yes. And then help our clients then work with their broker to then secure or procure those particular insurance coverages.
That's one thing I hear a lot with cyber liability, anything IT. That's included into that, because we're in a day and age where technology, email, everything is very accessible. We want it as secure as possible. So having those things in place helps businesses.
Absolutely, man. I think we all were aware with CrowdStrike and how it brought down a lot of different organizations in that process. And it wasn't a cyber hacker situation. It was just a program doing their thing and it going into production and impacting so many different businesses, and cost a lot of money.
Perfect example.
I am sure that CrowdStrike probably doesn't have enough insurance to cover all the damages they cause with that. One just kind of misstep, and an employee hitting the button to put it in production. Right. It's a big error.
Yes.
Where's quality control?
And with that experience that all of us took a little piece from, this comes into place where you're like, this may be a non-realistic example, but that example took place and it happened. Were you insured? So this one's a really good one. So as a business owner, what is the most significant hurdles you have faced in this industry, and what strategies have you found effective in navigating them?
So I think the hurdles I kind of mentioned before. Number one, when you are, a diverse business owner, whether we like it or not, or whatever the political stance is on it right now, we do have an uphill battle in a lot of rooms, right? And so I think those hurdles where we are in a predominantly white male oriented industry, it sometimes is difficult to get access to the right rooms and then tell your story of how you can be a benefit. And when you're not a part of the largest of large organizations, being a small business on top of that, so there's the second hurdle, right? Are you large enough to handle our account? We are very complex, right? And so you kind of get these things that are kind of roadblocks that your prospects are giving to you. But we found a way, leveraging our skill set and having good team members or subject matter experts that we can bring to the table to bring. If we're doing aviation, we may have an aviation person that we can contract with to bring to the table to talk that direct language, right? Where we can do the general stuff and wrap around that. So really figuring out how to navigate the rooms that you need to be in is how we had to get over those hurdles. I think the success for us is it's relationship business, right? So having those relationships, knowing the influential people in the community that can get you that access to those rooms, and also being advocates for you, not only for the business that you can do, but your character. So people want to do business with people they like. They want to do business with people that their friends like, right? And those who can do a good job and can deliver and be on that level with them, right? And so I think we've done a really good job of not only being able to be in those rooms and having those connections, but also having the team members that can come and deliver at the same level as well.
And to add to the benefit of uniqueness, some people like to deal with people who look like them as well. So on a fun note, what's a fun fact about you and your company?
So fun facts, other the company first, I think we are a hodgepodge of different backgrounds, right? So diversity in our team is important. as well. So we really look at that and take that into account as we're serving clients. So it's not only from a gender perspective, ethnicity, we look at that as well. Now, being a minority, owned business, we do have more brown, black and brown people on the team, but we understand that we have to also be diverse the other way, right? To serve our clients and have that thought process. But also our backgrounds are different. We all have a risk management focus, but the areas in which that we have our experiences in are different. So we can then come to a client and add a lot of value. So we're doing our outsourced risk management, what we call a fractional chief risk officer role. Our clients don't just get that one person. They effectively get the whole team, right? So if they bought, call it 60 hours annually from us, an issue comes up, if it's my client, I don't know the answer to that, I can pass it off to my team members to come back and give me that response, or bring them onto the line or whatever to help that client through it. So some of our competition may be a sole practitioner and they have their lane that they work in and they can't do everything. We cover a lot of the bases, and if it's not us on our direct team, we have some contractors that we work with who are subject matter experts, SMEs, in those areas that we can bring to the table. So I think that's the fun part of it, really there to help organizations, both for-profit and not-for-profit, really meet their objectives of their organization and help protect that valuable asset that they are to the community or to the employees that they serve.
So how has being a chamber member helped you in your business?
I think the chamber definitely, with opportunities to network with folks. Now, in the chamber, there are folks from the Ohio side as well, but there's a lot of Northern Kentucky people who are super passionate and engaged in the chamber, right? And so that gives us a way to really get rooted on this side of the river. Even though the river's not that wide, a lot of cases it feels like it's wider than that when when you're from Ohio versus Kentucky. So how do you really balance that out? It's to be over here and be visible, right? And so volunteering, coming to events and programming, doing podcasts to get your story out there is very helpful. So the chamber's been great for us to get our name out there on this side of the river, and we've been doing work on this side. It's been pretty fun.
We love that. We're very happy to be able to create that space, but also have you in it to create opportunities and impact others in that space. So it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Absolutely. And I enjoy it.
Yes. Now, if anyone wants to hear any additional information on RiskVersity, how do they get connected?
So our website is www.riskversity, so RISK, V as in Victor, ER, S as in Sam, ITY, .com. That's probably the best place to go, but we are on LinkedIn with the same, at, if you put RiskVersity, and we'll pop up. We're pretty active on there, sharing very good content around risk management, but also some insurance information from the various insurance carriers around and various different service lines. So look us up on social media and check out our website.
That sounds good. Well, we thank you guys for tuning in to our podcast. This was Laurence Jones from RiskVersity. If you want to know more information regarding how you can get connected with RiskVersity, go to our link, which has all the resources and information for you. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Chris Knockelman with Schneller Knockelman Plumbing, Heating, and Air. It's spring now, but before you know it, our ACs are working overtime.
Dave, it's going to be warm soon.
Right now is a good time to get the AC serviced, right?
You can get your AC tuned up for only $59.
So get your $59 tune-up at
SKPHA.com. SKPHA. So if your plumbing and mechanical systems give you trouble, just remember our name, Schneller Knockelman.
Housing is a regional priority. Having an ample supply of homes is fundamental for the Northern Kentucky region to meet basic economic needs and enable regional growth. Learn more about income-aligned housing, the region's housing needs, and why it is essential to ensure Northern Kentucky continues to be a great place to live, work, play, learn, and give back at bit.ly/NKY Housing Study.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Jim and from Laurence on today's episode of the podcast. Don't forget to get your tickets to the NKYP kickoff meeting on Thursday, October 10th, if you are one of our young professionals. Like I said, you can register for that event at nkychamber.com/events. Thanks once again to our podcast sponsors, CVG, C-Crew Consulting, and Schneller Knockelman. Finally, if you are a member who would like to be featured on the podcast Or if you're someone who is interested in joining the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, please reach out to Lynn Ablin. And if you're a member who would like to share your workforce strategies and resources on our Talent Strategy Spotlight, please reach out to Nancy Spivey. You can find their contact information on the screen in front of you or at our staff directory at nkychamber.com. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next week.